Stop your hands. We're live on Facebook?
Yeah.
Hi everyone, we're live on Facebook. This is Meet Them Mondays. This is Valerie, Mesa. This is Sister Pravia. And we're about to go live on joeradio.org for our Miami Bruja culture episode. If you want to hear the audio in a higher format, then be sure to check it out. If not, if you miss this live or you can't watch the video, Spotify or Apple Podcasts after. Okay, real quick, can you both give me your hands and let's just...
Oh my god, I love this.
Let me just...
Okay.
Actually, yes.
This is like running...
Yeah. I just want to like set the vibes.
Of course.
Thank you both for being here so much. We're going to have a great show. Hopefully our words are clear and we can get any messages out. And I'm just so grateful to have you both here and I appreciate your time. So thank you so much. And we're going to have a great show, okay? We're going to have fun. Yay!
I love you already.
Peace worlds, welcome to Meet Them Mondays, a show about community, culture, and lifestyle in Miami. I'm your host, Cristian Portilla, and tonight I'm in the studio with Valerie Mesa and Sister Pravia for our Miami Bruja culture episode. How are you girls doing?
Great. So good.
I'm so excited to have you. Doesn't it feel like we've known each other forever?
I swear, it really does.
Right, Val?
Yeah, it feels, I don't know, it feels so natural. It feels great to be here.
Right, Sister? I told you the same thing.
Yeah, well, actually, when we first walked in, she said that right away. And I thought the same thing.
I mean, like, I know you too. Before we get into tonight's episode, I want to start with saying that June is Pride Month. And Miami is obviously celebrating the first one with Pride, the weekend of the 23rd. So I want to encourage you all to go back and also listen to past episodes of Meet Them Mondays, like our show on our first transgender South Florida prom. I also have an interview with Valentin Mera, who came out as transgender. And there's also the Celebrate Orgullo episode, which celebrates Miami's first Hispanic LGBT month. And I also have a story coming out in Miami New Times this week. The Museum of Discovery and Science in Fort Lauderdale is hosting the first ever family pride day. So it's gonna be such a beautiful event. They're really like pioneering what it is to encourage museums to have like pride events and make people feel like included. They're gonna have like drag story time and documentaries, and it's for families, for LGBT families. So I thought that was so special. So I'm super excited about that.
That is really special.
Yeah. So yeah, just be on the lookout for that story. And so tonight is actually also about pride, but a different kind of pride. It's about Bruja pride, you know?
Yes.
And so I'm excited to really kind of get the story out there. People were going crazy on social media for something like this. And I'm so glad that we all came together. So I want to start with each one of you introducing yourselves and telling us a little bit more about you and maybe, you know, how you identify as Bruja or whatever you want. So maybe, Sister, we can start with you.
Yeah, sure. Well, I do identify as a Bruja. To me, that's like overall lifestyle. What I do, whether it's like waking up in the morning and being grateful, whether I'm doing brujeria on someone, you know, for a good thing, you know, to help like clients out and things that way. But my main tool is doing tarot, and that's how I kind of started my business. I've been doing it for like 9 years now, but ever since I was small, since I was like 5, I can remember, I've been very intuitive. I've been able to connect with spirits. That's how I do some of my readings as well. And every little thing that's happened in my life, it's like I was telling her earlier, it's divine timing.
Yeah.
Everything has happened for a reason, and there's a reason I'm here now.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. Val, what about you? Tell me more. How do you identify? What do you consider
So
yourself?
definitely identify as a Bruja. I think that every Latina woman has a little bit of Bruja in them already.
Yes, we do.
And I'm also a cosmic journalist. I'm an astrologer. But I do think that being a Bruja comes first. And it's like Sister said, it's about waking up, being grateful, It's really about connecting with the universe and with nature. It goes, a lot more like just further than the, the juju and the superstition. It's a lot about just being empowered and waking up in the morning and being like, I am strong, I am capable. But yes, I write horoscopes for the Mujerista, I write for Elite Daily, I write for Betches, I also write for La Bailuna, and I consider myself a cosmic journalist, a writer, and a bruja. I mean, I can say that all day.
Yeah, it's always exciting to have another journalist in the house.
Yes.
And so I want to ask you, is there a difference you feel between brujas and empaths and like espiritistas and santeras or santeros, like, or do you feel like it kind of just is like one umbrella? And
You want to answer that one, sister?
I mean, I do think that, like you said, it's an umbrella.
Mhm.
Everyone has a different spiritual journey.
Yeah.
Whether it's I'm Christian, or I believe in Jesus, or I believe in witchcraft, santero, and every single little one of them has something very specific. It's like your niche.
Yeah.
So I think you just have to find like your little thing, whether it's astrology, or you like doing tarot, or you do like crystal healing, or even like Thai massages, things like that.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
just like such a huge world that
Yeah.
you could really find your place in it.
And Valerie?
I agree 100%. I think that it's like different buckets for the witches in the witchcraft world. I also feel that, and this kind of reminds me of astrology, which is one of the reasons I got into astrology to begin with. I feel like we all have a unique purpose and a soul path, and I think that whether you're an astrologer or, Reiki master or, any type of healer with crystals, you have like a dharma and you have a specific power that you
Yeah.
carry with you. And I think that if all women and even men were to tap into this, I feel like everybody would discover their power,
Yeah.
because I feel like we all have it in us. It's just a matter of really opening that channel, like you
polishing,
said.
Yeah, absolutely. Like everyone, I do think you're like your own master of your own journey. So it's like whether I decide to wake up today upset or happy, I
Totally.
just set the tone for that.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah. There's also like his name is escaping me right now. He talks about like pain bodies. He's one of these guys that Oprah always has on Super Soul, and he talks about like that energy, like que se pega. So if you wake up in
Deepak, maybe, or
no, not Deepak,
No.
the German guy. His name will come back to me. He wrote A New World, and he's super in tune. But basically about pain bodies and things like that. So like if you wake up upset, you're gonna pass that energy on to whoever else, and like canceling out those things. But you said something, sister, that I thought was really great, and I'm just happy to get right into it.
Yeah.
You talked about like God and like whether you're Christian or religious or spiritual. But there's like I think of misconception that people think, si soy bruja or soy brujo,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Satan worshiper.
yeah, like
hate it.
I can't worship God, or I can't worship Jesus, or whatever God means to you. And I think that those are parallels. You know what I mean? Like you can be a bruja. I mean, in my perspective,
Yeah.
why not? You could be a bruja and still pray
I
to
went to
God.
Catholic school, half of my life, and that doesn't mean that I can't go to a Buddhist temple or a Christian church. I'm still open, and I'm still, I believe in everything. I believe in faith.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly, Valerie.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Believing in faith. Sister, what do you think
Yeah.
about that?
I actually grew up Catholic.
You did too.
Yeah,
Me
but
too, kind of.
I love being Catholic.
Okay.
Like, 2 weeks ago, my little cousin did her first communion, and that was like a big deal to me. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't do anything that day. I spent a day with my family. We went, and it's like something special. It's like a rite of life. Like, it's her passage. And she was actually so excited. She was actually the youngest
It's
child from the
exciting.
group
Yeah.
to do her first communion. So it was really nice to see that. It felt really nice to be in the church. I believe in God. I believe in Christ. We as Catholic have like our own virgins that we pray to and things like that and saints.
100%.
Yeah, and I do too. And I don't think, and people have asked me before, like, don't you think like God's gonna be upset at you for doing like witchcraft and things like that? I don't, because I think, and I know I'm a really good human being.
Yeah.
Like, I give back. I do my work. It's to help other people.
Right.
I'm not doing anything negative towards anyone.
Right.
So I'm not going to go to hell. You're not going to go to hell. Like, even if you feel like you're intuitive and things like that, you shouldn't be like scared.
I'm
Right.
so glad that she's saying that. Like,
Yeah, speak on that. Val.
yeah.
Speak on
No,
that.
it makes again, I mean, I've been in this now for a while, but I feel like it's really validating to hear like a fellow bruja say, look, you're not going to hell if you do have an altar for a deity, or you decide to dance under the full moon. Like, it's all part of the same thing. We're all part of the same thing.
And actually today was the first day, it's the anniversary of the first woman who got hung in Salem for being accused of a witch. And she was accused of a witch because of the way she was dressed, because people thought her lifestyle was weird. Imagine if today you stepped out, like, we're very fashionable right now, okay? Yeah. Imagine you got in trouble, or like they did a whole trial and like her clothes and her wardrobe was actually evidence in the courtroom.
Wow.
Yeah. First of all, justice for her, and I love that we're having our own little coven night.
Yeah.
On the same day.
They showed to her.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
That's
God.
incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I actually saw that earlier today, and I thought about it, and I was like, I think it's really cool that we're doing this now.
Yeah.
It was like meant to be to do it today.
Yeah, it was
so eerie.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I recently attended Catholic church because una primita le estaban haciendo el bautizo, and I hadn't been to Catholic church in forever. I was baptized, I did my first communion, and I didn't confirm myself, but my mom made sure to put me through that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also very lucky that I have a Scorpio of a mother who decided to be very open in terms of her spirituality. So growing up, we tried a lot of different things in terms of spirituality. I think also she was trying to find pieces of herself and really find where she fit in, but we tried different things. We did like Testigo de Jehová for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We went to like a Christian church. We did like I went to like a Kabbalah center.
Wow.
Like I've tried a lot of different things, So but being back in the church, I was a little bit scared because some of the last experiences I had in church were like, tratando de sacarme el diablo because, of like my sexuality and me being bisexual and whatnot, and I'm married to a woman, so go figure. But it was very kind of like negative,
Right.
And I felt out of place. So when I went this time, I was like, oh God, like, I was like, oh please don't let me not feel bad about being here. But it was really nice, and it was a baptism. Like, these are baby angels, you know what I mean?
Of course.
So it was just such a great, like, my cousin doesn't know this. She'll probably know after she hears the episode, but it was just. It was great being there because it felt like kind of like a clean way of being there without feeling tarnished.
I feel like it's about the intention too, because being there with the babies, and like you almost even get emotional. I saw my little nephew get baptized not too long ago, and you see all the little babies and the families, getting together, and
it was really special. It's like so sweet to see that, and I feel like I'm glad you felt like you had a really great experience in the church because I've it's I think growing up, and if you're like questioning your religion at any point, it is hard to be in there, but the last few times in the few years that I've gone, I just know that like I'm doing the right thing.
And that's intuition, and I kind of wanted to go back to asking you both, like, when was the first time you felt you had, I don't know how you say it for yourself, but intuition or a power or a spirit, or you had the light in you? Like, Valerie, for you, when was that, when you were kind of like, wait, I feel things,
So realistically, I mean, my whole life, for a very long time, especially in elementary school, I felt very out of place. And it's not that I didn't have friends or that I didn't have a good childhood, because thank God I have an amazing Leo mama who made my life, and my dad incredible, right? But I always was very receptive to my environment, and we were speaking on that earlier. And I was always worried about other people, and I was kind of like that little girl who was pushing the friends on the swing and really didn't care if she got right on the swing or not.
Okay.
Kind of being there for everybody. And a lot of times I still remember, and there was this teacher I had, rest in peace, her name was Miss Cobb, and I always used to sense her energy, and I would always be like, Miss Cobb, are you mad at me? And she would be like, what are you talking about? I can never be mad at you. And I always would feel her energy. And I feel like now with time, like I hadn't tapped into my clairvoyance. And I think that now I realize that I must have been feeling whatever she had been feeling at the time, or God knows. But I mean, I can't even tell you the amount of times that I've, been in contact with a certain spirit or a certain entity, or, just meet a person and feel that instant connection. And I just think that that's been happening to me my whole life.
Okay.
And this has astrology really saved me in that sense. And so did witchcraft and just being connected and spirituality, because it gave me a lot of validation. And I think that that's something that people are constantly seeking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think ever since I was like small, I would have dreams, and then something would tell me right away, you're gonna see it.
Yes.
And I would visually, like, literally see everything happen in front of me. And at first I wouldn't say anything. I would just, like, stare at the whole, but I would really know how it's going to break down. And it could be really small things, or it could be something that was a big deal. And then I would try to talk to my mom about it, but my mom is very traditional. She's a Taurus.
Aww.
So, and I'm, like, this super fire, so it's like, no. She would be like, no,
Mars
don't.
and Venus, hello.
Yeah, so she would just, like...
You're Aries.
Yeah, I am. So she would dismiss it. And so when I realized that my mom would dismiss it, I didn't push it away. I would just let it happen. And I would kind of keep it to myself.
That's
and I
the
felt like
warrior in
it
you.
was like a funny thing to see things happen.
Yeah.
And I would be laughing on my own. Until this day, I laugh on my own about things. And people were like, what are you laughing at? I'm like,
'cause
don't worry.
I saw this happen, like, you know, if you...
Yeah, so I'm just like, don't worry about it. And then my intuition is very strong. And you can make your intuition very strong. You just have to keep listening to that voice and just do it.
Yeah.
Like, just follow it and it'll just get stronger and stronger and stronger. So
That
this-
is so
yeah.
true. I feel like it's a trial and error thing, and I agree with her. You know, sometimes, and you know, being an astrologer, yes, I have the astrology wheel in front of me, but it validates my intuition. And I think that if you are not afraid to say, I feel this, 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 and this, you have to kind of just go for it, because that's how, you know, that's how you're able to see whether or not your intuition is speaking to you. And so far, I mean, it's never been wrong. And I think that if you do feel it, you have to act on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's so Aries of you, because Aries is about taking action, and it's Aries are so intuitive.
And Valerie's a Cancer, and I'm a Gemini, just to get that out.
Water, fire, and air. We have our own.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because so right before the show started, you were like, oh, are you an empath? Because, so you both have given me a lot of, like, context to put, like, a lot of words in terms of the things that I feel and that I have felt. But I know for sure, and this is the first time I'm going to say this, but I know I'm a Bruja. I'm a Bruja for sure. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Oh my god, I'm gonna get chills right now.
You know why? Because even how like, so just even like things that I feel, I see. So my visions come in dreams. Like I see things in dreams, and I wake up like, and I have like a That's So Raven moment, and I'm like,
I love that.
and I'm like, oh, this is about to go down. Okay, let me see how this plays out. You know, like it's just, and I feel like my power is definitely in my stomach.
That's where empaths receive. I mean, I
Yes.
don't know if that's where you receive.
I mean, mostly my body will, like, say something. So I have been in situations where, like, I could feel someone's vibe and know if I want to interact with you or not.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And I do get a lot of negative feedback sometimes if I right away just push you off. And I push you off because I've played with the cards and I've had the benefit of doubt, and then you prove it to me. And I'm just like, okay, so I'm going to listen to my intuition. The rest of you don't pay my bills, so I'm just going to go with that.
Oh my god, amen to that.
So that's it.
Amen to that.
And even with my dreams, like I remember one time I had this job that I completely loved before I did my tarot. And I had a dream, and like I remember my boss telling me like, oh, I'm sorry, you have to go, just send me a message. And I was confused by it. And I didn't act on it, do anything. And then I saw it, and it literally happened because I was confused as to why was he telling me sorry. And then I saw it. It was like a whole misunderstanding with like the system and everything. He's like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about it. And he was just kept apologizing to me, and I just froze because I had seen it and I never did anything, and I just thought, damn, that's what I get for not listening to myself.
Oh no, yeah, and it's gonna tell you like you should have listened to me. But I actually get that too, the stomach thing, 100%. And I associate with the clairsentient term. You know, I use clairvoyant astrologer because I feel that I'm able to connect and, you know, receive a lot. But I feel a lot of things in, you know, my physical body, the back of my neck, my arms. I'll get a headache, and I instantly know.
I get headaches too.
And before, for instance, 2018, wild. So I had a really big like epiphany, like spiritual awakening, which I don't regret. Like you said, everything happens for a reason. But right before it all happened, and my mom can vouch me on this, I literally said, Mom, I feel like I'm on a slingshot or like on a roller coaster, and I just hear the tuk 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 because I'm about to blow, like I'm about to go that way, and I don't know what's gonna happen. And it was right before so much like happened. So like I feel like your body just speaks to you, and it's a matter of really tapping into that, and it's a matter of really saying, no, I'm not crazy. I am made of energy. Like I am made of star stuff. My body is speaking to me. What is it that I'm feeling? The same way you decided to go back to church. You know, if you didn't feel good at church, and you shouldn't be at church. It's a feeling, and I think that the feeling is so important.
I'm glad that sis, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I think if you feel like it didn't feel right,
Oh,
then
yeah.
don't go.
No, and
You
I
know?
changed like 50 million times before I went, but it
Gemini.
was just...
Or if you were uncomfortable, don't go, you know? Like,
No, but it felt
Yeah.
good to be there. But you know, you brought up something that I wanted to elaborate on. So you use the stars or astrology, right, to get your messages across, Valerie.
Totally.
And then Sister will come to you. But I want to know, how did you decide that that was going to be the way that you communicated? Did it choose you? Did you choose it? Like, how was that journey for you?
Well, Linda Goodman chose me. So my mom, it's funny. I feel like my mom's living vicariously through me. She's a teacher, but everything that I got into, I write, and she's like an English major. And then I'm also into astrology, which she loved astrology. My grandma, we all watched Walter Mercado growing up, and he's everything.
Nice for Walter.
Yeah, I adore him. And, you know, Linda Goodman, her books, and, you know, all these different astrologers. She had this, like, huge library, and I remember being 12 years old, picking up the books and reading, like, oh my God, you know, this is amazing. I started kind of putting people into buckets, and as horrible as that sounds, for me, it made me feel like I belonged to something. It gave me a sense of belonging. And when I started getting into the ascendant and the moon and the, you know, it was grad night, and my friends were in the bus, and I was in the back of the bus, and I was reading Sextrology by Starsky and Cox. It's this red book, and I was like, all right, Taurus, your turn-ons are A, B, C, D, E, F, and everyone's like, what is this? And I was just like, you know, one day I'm going to write about this, and I'm going to write about astrology. So I think that for me, being receptive and being a people person, even though I feel like an ambivert, because I can be very introverted as well.
Yeah.
I like to make people feel welcome, and I like to make people feel special. And it's not something that I like to force. I like to remind you of your strengths. I like to remind you why Aries is so fabulous, right? So for me, astrology helped me do that, and it helped me connect with people, and it helped me connect with myself.
Yeah.
So it kind of really just all came together through astrology.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah. And Sister, I know that one of your main channels of communication is tarot, no? So how did you choose tarot, or did tarot choose you? ¿Cómo empezó eso?
I love that she said astrology chose her, because the tarot actually chose me too. I did not care for it. Like, I didn't. Like, I didn't even know what the heck that was until, like, maybe in 2009 or something, when I was in college, I went to art school for a BFA, and I ran into a friend that we separated when we were little because he moved and, you know, whatever, and we recognized each other right away, and I felt weird every time I was around him, because I was like, what the hell's going on? This boy's weird. But he was so cool, and we'd always go off, do our own nonsense, whatever. So one day, this boy is crazy. He randomly one day in the middle of Hialeah in the street for real, he takes out some random cards and just starts throwing them down. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And he goes, oh, I'm just seeing my cards. I go, well, what is that? And he goes, they're tarot cards. So he would always do it. And I would just watch him. I didn't care. Whatever. I just thought, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. So he would always take them out and show it to me, and he'd talk about it. He'll talk about this, or he'll tell fortunes. So I thought it was fun, because in a way I kind of saw it that we were like chismeando. Because we would ask about people. And I'd be like, oh, what is he going to say about this person, that person, whatever. So one day, I had like this balcony where I used to live, and we were just drinking. He was sitting on his cards, and at the time I had this best friend, and we're like, let's see what it has to say about her. So the cards had said that, like, she had this boyfriend for the longest. It said that she was going to break up with him. She was going to stop being my friend. It said she was going to get pregnant, and every time we kept taking out a card, it just became more intense, every little thing. So when the pregnancy thing comes out, I'm like, what do you mean? How is she going to get pregnant? So I had in his deck, every deck is different, he had like a blank card. And the blank card is basically to get you to stop, because that's enough. So the card came out, we had no idea. So then within a few months, she actually stopped being my friend. She broke everything. And then when she got pregnant, somebody told me the story. They're like, you know that she got pregnant? And I was like, oh, well, it sucks to be her. And I didn't think about the cards at all. Then somebody else came to me, and they're like, oh my God, sister, do you know blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, okay, so? like I didn't get it. I was like, why? And then people kept telling me.
But
and
how did that end up with you choosing the tarot choosing you?
Because I was just annoyed by it. I'm like, why do people keep telling me this? And every time I get a repetitive message, I feel it's a sign and I have to look at it.
For sure.
So then I'm like sitting in my room and some random person that I don't really even interact with tells me this again. And I'm like, why are they telling me this? And right away it hits that it was the tarot cards.
Like
the tarot. Yeah, so I was like, the tarot card said it. So I was like, oh my gosh. And when I thought about it, everything literally happened. Before, when he would do readings, I guess maybe I never really paid attention to what was going on until that moment, because it felt like almost all these things happened to me. So then I called him and I was like, hey, do you remember those tarot readings you did about this girl? And he goes, yeah, I do. And I go, it happened. And he was like, yeah, I know. I was like, what do you mean you know? And he goes, because the cards said it. And I go, those cards told you all this and it happened. And in that moment, I actually believed it. So I went and told my friend, let's go to the bookstore and buy some tarot cards because I've seen them there. So I went and bought the cards and I got obsessed with it and I would throw down cards every single day.
And you started
every single
yourself?
Yeah.
Like how did you?
Yeah. So I just every single day I would take out cards. I'll take out cards for myself, and then I would see like what would happen to me that day. And all the messages the cards were giving me were things that would happen to me that day.
So you had like an affinity for the tarot. Like it was just easy for you to use that as like the tool to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a matter of really just picking it up. And you know, playing around with it, because it's funny, when you told me you and your friend were having drinks in the balcony reading the cards, the first thing that came to my mind is spirits that protect you guys, probably you in another life, you and your friend, probably in the, I don't know, the Renaissance era would drink and throw cards, and it's like you guys were both possessed by those times.
Yeah, like, and it's funny because he's not even in my life anymore, not in a bad way, he just kind of like randomly disappeared, and I just feel like he was meant for that time, and then that's it, and we moved on. It was because he was supposed to show me these cards. He was supposed to show me this, and then every time I would try to like, so when I used to work before, I did like visual merchandising, and I would avoid doing tarot as a business, and it would just pop in.
I was gonna ask though, because now with the story that you're telling me, do you feel and I don't know if this compares to the same thing, but like you know how sometimes we see in movies that like, I don't know, I'm gonna be a little haiku here, but like the wand calls you, or like the crystal chooses you, like so your tarot cards choose you. Because when I was doing research for this for tonight's show, I was like looking through what a lot of people say, and sometimes they don't feel like affinity toward the cards because that's just not the deck for them, and you have to
for sure
experiment with different
there's
decks.
A deck for everyone.
Same things with crystals, same things, so like those things call you. But I'm curious to know, do you both only stick to one method of communicating, or do you have other things that you use as well? Like, because here's the thing, there's different methods of communicating, and in Santeria, of course, like I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's like te leen el tabaco, te tiran los caracoles, or there's
there's a lot to read someone.
I mean, there's a bunch of different.
So here's a question: do you choose what tool you're going to use to communicate, or do you stick to the resource and the tool that you know for your people, for your clients?
So I am like the least consistent human. The only thing I'm consistent about in this life is my astrology, which is like where the whole Gitana thing comes from, right? But I do come from a background that's very spiritual, and I do believe that part of my brand, part of my purpose has to do with this gypsy entity that I have that's next to me, right? But I feel like when I'm reading, you know, when I'm having one-on-one consultations with people, I am looking at their astrology chart, but I'm connecting with them already. And I feel like sometimes me da por sacar, you know, mi baraja española, and, you know, I even have my vaso de agua at home all the time, which, you know, I feel like is something that, I don't know if you, I think that's like a Latina thing too. The water is kind of like where the spirits go to. I clean my water every week, make sure it's nice and clean, especially when I'm doing a reading. And if I feel like, you know, this person has heaviness on them, which I feel like I instantly sense it. I have cascarilla, which is crushed eggshell. They sell it at the botanical shops, and I have that with me. So I feel like it really depends. I think that if you are into witchcraft, I think that number one, do your research, you know, find a mentor. The only reason, and I'm not, you know, saying that people are more or less of witches at all. I think that that's a calling, but I think that the reason I'm into it is because I grew up in a family that would go to people like healers and priestesses and etc. And I was able to learn from them. But when you tap into another realm, The same way you can invoke and have an altar and have a deity and, post a picture of your altar on Instagram, you can also invoke something dark.
Yeah.
So I think that it's really important to know what it is that you're doing before you, get into it. But I think that it's something that, it's like we've been discussing, it's going to be something that calls you, whether you're feeling the cards that day and you want to do more research, or, you tap into astrology. But make sure that you, whatever it is that you're going for, that you really take the time to study and that you learn the pros and the cons and that you know what you're dealing with. Because once you open that other side,
that's it.
Because I've had bad experiences the same way I've had good experiences.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you've had...
Well, you
also.
have to, I think, be receptive to the fact that everything is a balance, right?
Totally.
You have to have the good, you have to have the bad, the light, the dark.
Totally.
But I think that, there's, I think it's also with your intention, right? Like, what are you using it for? If you're using it for something bad, like, you can expect something, you have to, todo en esta vida se paga.
No, total. And by bad experience, it's not that I've dabbled into anything bad.
No, I don't mean anything like that. Not on you. I'm just saying for those that practice.
For sure.
It's like going on a bad trip when you do a drug. You can either have a good trip or a bad trip, but you are susceptible to.
Exactly.
You're opening that gate.
Yeah.
So once you go through that door, you know that you're saying, I might have a good trip, I might have a bad trip. It's not because you did anything bad, but you have to take the good with the bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So
I was watching, and this is like side note, because I feel like as Brujas, like, it doesn't have to be what I'm trying to tell you. It doesn't have to be like one way. It can happen in so many different ways. I was watching this Netflix series, and I was really, really into it. And it was about this group of girls that experienced something really tragic in their school. And I'll mention the series later on. But basically, it was about a death that happened, and it happened to a nun. It was on Netflix. And I kept watching it, and I was so obsessed with the justice and the nun and the justice and the nun. And I had to stop because the nun literally came to me in the middle of the night.
you see?
So that's the type of thing that I feel like when you are receptive, you have to, it's the balance. Like, I was obsessed with justice, but then I had to literally stop cold turkey because it didn't.
It's funny you say that because I actually don't watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Netflix because I have crazy satanic dreams. Like, I have dreams that I'm like in the middle of rituals, but it doesn't feel like maybe my brain's making it up. It feels like I'm in that location at that moment and I see all these dark figures and they're interacting with me.
Yeah.
And in that moment, being an empath, it really like makes me sick. It makes me really upset. Like, it's hard sometimes.
That's too much.
Yeah, sometimes it's actually hard for me to wake up. And my friends think it's funny because they're like, well, aren't you una bruja? And I go, well, I don't run around doing all that. That's like too much to throw at somebody. Like,
I have those type of dreams too. And I remember when I was very young, I would have them. And the one thing that helps them go away, even now as an adult, when they do happen, I had one not that long ago.
Are you talking about the like sleep paralysis?
I have like sleep paralysis, but I also have like satanic dreams. Like like
prayer is the only way out of it because the same thing happens to me.
My mom told me, she was like, mi amor, cuando eso pase, póngase en oración. And like,
God.
and well, I'm glad that we're talking about how to like de-escalate those situations or how to stop like the bad trips, if you will. Because obviously, all of us in different levels feel certain things. My question to you is, since you are like cargada energía, or you receive so much energy from this work, what do you do to decompress? Like, what do you do to kind of like center yourself and like cleanse the slate and like kind of like bring this back down? So prayer is one of them, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like, I think it's the main question of like asking, you shall receive. So if you're like in a need of help, you need to ask for it. Don't feel, because maybe also if you don't believe in God or you don't know what to believe in, just speak out, and the universe, whatever it is, it's going to help you out. There's a higher power guiding all of us. So obviously God doesn't want something bad to happen to you, but you kind of open up this gate to be thrown into something. You're like, oh my God, Papa Dios, please help me. Like,
So what do? You sage, you light an incense, you light a candle?
So definitely I like being by myself because, for example, I do tarot readings sometimes at, like, for example, ladies' nights. I'll go to bars and things like that, and I'll set up and I do readings for girls there.
Oh, I love that.
But it's so many people, and y'all are one after the other.
It's
so
draining.
in that moment, it can be exhausting, and I usually like having someone with me because I'll tell them to bring me water. Stop. I'll tell them stop. Tell this person that I need to go to the bathroom, and I'll literally walk away. I need to drink water for sure. Like, I need to stay hydrated. And then between each reading, I actually burn sage in that moment. But if I'm doing something where I had a private client at my home where I do my readings, before and after, I always just cleanse my space with sage or Palo Santo too. And I just like afterwards just being by myself.
Yeah.
And, just, kind of like letting go too of that. I let go of the session really fast because in a way it's like, it's not my business until I'm in that moment with you, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour. And that's it. And I let it go.
Right. Okay. So you're able to let go. And Valerie, for you, do you have a way of like cleansing yourself?
So I agree with her. I'm an only child, so like I love to chill by myself. Like I'm total like lone wolf in that sense. But I think that people need to be alone to recharge.
Yeah.
I also do events too. And it's funny. I do have cacaria with me at all times. It's like a white chalk, and sometimes like I don't even care if people think I have like play chalk on me. Like I will put the sign of the cross on me. My mom does that too. She always showed me that. But more than anything, what I do to recharge is I go and I spend time in nature. I'm a person that, and this is something that I, in birth charts, I always look at this as like the first thing I look at when I'm reading a client. It's what element do you have more of and more, less of. So for instance, I'm all water, which is, very emotional, very receptive, but I have no earth. So if there's one thing I need is to spend time with nature and to ground myself.
That's cool.
So So a lo mejor you have a lot of earth god, I'll have to look at your chart. But that can help me, first of all, that can help me see if you're the type of person that needs to see to believe. Yeah. That can help me see how I'm going to communicate with you. Yeah. So there's a lot of little tricks that, you go learning. For me, I don't have earth, so I run to the park or the ocean where I can really decompress. Yeah. But one thing that it's really silly, but it really goes a long way, I always carry perfume with me. And if I ever feel like I'm like cargada or because it could happen just by speaking to someone that I walk away and I feel 1,000 pounds heavier.
Yeah, absolutely.
I grab my perfume, I spray it in the back of my neck, and I spray it here, and I smell because I feel like...
I do the same thing. I always spray in the back of my neck, and on my wrist.
Where you receive. It's like so, and that always kind of takes it away. And in these events, that like it's what she says, people have no idea. I commend you, especially when you do it at the ladies' nights. It must be so like overwhelming. You go home, you feel like... I leave those events completely
I'm so exhausted. Yeah. Like the next day, I don't do anything. I don't book anything. I don't go to work. Because I have like a part time. I won't.
It's like you're hungover or something. It's so intense. And then what I do is I have the perfume with me. I spray every couple minutes, and I have the crushed eggshell because it's it's very pure. It's a way of, and I kind of rub it on my hands. But then when I'm out of there, sage and Palo Santo, I try to do that once a week in my home. Because I feel like you bring it in. Whatever happened at work that day, you walk in your house, you don't want to be a fanatic about it, but there's energy everywhere. My boyfriend, I make him ponerse su cosa right before he walks in. I'm like, did you cleanse yourself? All right, great.
Oh,
like
I have,
so
No, but I love that you know about it, so you have to have like your own forms of self-care.
And again, it goes back to what we were talking about. It's a unique form. For her, she learns. You're gonna have your own way. If you tap into it, whoever.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely. When I was doing the research for it, a part of me is also like a little bit afraid because I feel so much. I remember there was a quote that I used to read that I read once, and it was like, I feel like everything. Like there was a song, and she would start the song like, I feel it all, I feel it all, and I'm like, girl, me too. Like I feel the most. And I've always had people like, you're so sensitive, you're so this, and it's like, it's how you said, well, I'm sorry that I feel everything.
I'm going to celebrate that for you because I think that it's so special.
Yeah.
What you said to me, I was like, I liked you already since day one, but I was like, that's it. 1,000 kudos for her. It's important. A lot of times people having empathy is really important, you know?
It makes you such a... It just makes you nicer.
Human.
And I've really learned to like really how to take care and how to like who to care to, like how to guide the care that I give, because sometimes
and
I'm
who
a
you
little
pay
bit
attention to, who you give life to, because
people take advantage of it. It's the same thing, light and dark. There's light and dark in everyone. So like I said, if I already get a vibe that I'm not gonna connect with you, or I'm not gonna like
and
you,
I think that's with everything.
So you learn. You also learn. Like if you just gave too much to somebody and they're like draining you out, it's just like, no, I'm gonna stop. Like I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to do this.
And I could adore the person. I can literally love the person to death and know that I can only get small doses, and it's not because of them, it's because of me. It sounds it's not you, it's me. But it is,
you have more sense of awareness.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was I kept asking people like what they wanted to ask you both, and I had two people in particular that had a lot of questions. in terms of like things that they wanted to ask you, and these are questions from social media, from Instagram at Mita Mondays. Yeah, but
You're gonna be with my head.
you can't leave her hanging. So this question comes from at Maddie's Kitchen. You guys might or might not know her, but one of the questions was, what are your thoughts on, and I'm elaborating here because there was like so much of it.
Okay.
But I guess we'll group them into like a big umbrella. But obviously we're talking about Miami culture. This is, I think, also Latino culture.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on mal de ojo? What are your
Girl?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on like botanicas, like here in Miami? Like, what's the state of? I mean, this is a lot here, okay? But
Take it away,
okay,
sis.
like, and we gotta get through these. But at least for mal de ojo, because as Latinas,
100% real, 1,000 gajillion
do the
percent
little
real.
eye things really work? Las pulseritas.
It's the intention.
Okay.
So you wear something red, you wear red ribbon around your waist, I wear obsidian, it really all depends. You could wear it, right?
Yeah, I think she's right. Because I actually don't wear mal de ojo because when I was younger and so every time I would learn something new and I just love learning new things. So when I was younger, I would always look into books, and then the internet was like a new thing, so you could like search these kinds of things. And I would learn that as an Aries, I was actually born within the time of Easter. So if you're actually in Santeria, if you're born within the time of Easter, yeah, el mal de ojo is actually not going to work for you.
Okay.
And it made sense because mine would actually always bust, always break. And I just thought
sometimes they say que eso que recoge algo.
Yeah, so
and then you have to let them fall.
Exactly. So I would just like let it go. So then I figured that's not gonna work for me. So I'm like, she said actually she wears her crystals. She has like her little cute bracelets. I carry I like wearing fine jewelry, so that's why I actually love Asia. She makes all these cool, her gold, like metal to me is important. She has
Check her out.
Like her ABA jewels.
Yeah, she has all these kind of cool different crystals, and I know that she goes and scouts them and finds them, and she makes them. And I think that's if you're a very fashion girl, you're into these kinds of things, you're very edgy and cool. You
can prepare it too, because you can talk to it and you can put it under the moon, or you can
exactly. There's so many ways to cleanse it and to set the attention, like you said from the start.
What's the state of Miami brujeria culture? Because we have botanicas here, we have santeros here, we have a predominantly Cuban and Haitian culture here. So we have practitioners in the area. Is Miami a good place to be a bruja or a brujo?
I feel like it goes back to the same thing all over again with, Miami's a multiverse, but I feel like there is the light and the dark everywhere. Okay. I've seen good and I've seen bad. I feel like I've been to so many different botanical shops. There are botanical shops that I can't even be in there for 2 minutes because I have a headache that I'm dying, and I have to walk out, which I'm actually, shout out to Soul to Soul. It's actually a spiritual boutique.
Okay.
I'm actually going to be there this Saturday giving free mini readings, and they actually have a bunch of different spiritual trinkets. I know the owner very well. It's a place where right off the bat when you walk in that you just feel that sense of peace. And again, to each his own, right?
Yeah.
But I think that being a bruja in Miami, brujeria, botanical shops, everywhere you go, everywhere you look, there's going to be a dead chicken, I'm sorry, in the train track or wherever, and it's because there are people everywhere. You go to the Miami River, and I'll be honest, I am a devotee, and she's my mother in the Yoruba religion, Ochun, Tacarida del Cobre. If I want to make an offering to her in the river, I know that I'm going to go and it's going to be full of things, because people...
Is that bad, though? Is that associated with bad, mysticism or brujeria? Or?
I've never done the bad, but I know that there are offerings that you take to her. She works with honey, so sometimes you ring her bell and you kind of fill a little bit of honey and you ask her for prosperity or for whatever it is that you're looking for. And I think that a lot of people go to her to cry, and a lot of people go to her for that salvation, right? La Caridad del Cobre is la patrona de Cuba, so a lot of Cubans go to her asking her for everything under the sun. But I think that it really depends on again, it all boils down to the feeling.
But does your
because
santo tell you like I need you to sacrifice a chicken, or does it ask you like what it
I'm
means?
not necessarily like, she is my mother in the religion and I respect it very much, but
Okay.
I'm not like a consistent practitioner of
Okay.
that. I love
Okay.
her to death and I will do anything, you know, really.
Yeah.
If she were to come to me in a dream, I would do it, and I have done certain offerings, and I have an altar for her at home, but I couldn't tell you because I don't do that consistently.
Right, and this is like, again, we're here like just like we're learning and we're being curious, but for anyone listening, like this is not to shade or to like to offend anyone. If
Absolutely
you do
not.
any sacrifices or things like that, I personally would not say that I necessarily like them or agree with them. I wouldn't want to have to do something like that.
Right.
But if you have or you do that or whatever it is, like honestly speaking, to each their own, you know, because
Yes.
everyone is entitled to practice and to do as they please. It sucks that an animal has to get harmed, but we've all eaten meat here at one point or another. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, for
you know what I'm
sure.
saying?
And a lot of these like rituals, I mean, they kind of they come, you know, a long way from, you know, the super older, like the traditional
Yeah.
practitioners from
The
Africa
elders, yeah.
and Cuba, and it
The
kind of just
ancestors.
goes right.
And they bring all that their tradition over here.
Exactly.
Home. Yeah.
I have another question from social media as well, from God Loves Gucci, and he was talking about how to maintain intent during spells or doing I guess cuando estás invocando or you're asking for something.
Yeah.
Like, how do you maintain the intent that you have for what you're doing and not let maybe other things come in and really stay focused on what you're doing? Maybe Sister, you can answer that one.
I mean, I feel like whenever I've really done something, it's because it's something I really want or I really need. So for me, it's not hard to like let the outside world come into my circle.
Okay.
So for example, like whenever you should like kind of separate yourself
Yeah.
from what you're doing. So I would always like cast a circle, but before I step into that, I know that like I do a prayer to kind of protect me, like she said, because I don't know what's gonna come in and out.
For sure.
To protect me and
Because
to
you're like the messenger, you're the
Yeah.
conduit.
so to protect me and guide me and have focus. And if you find it hard to be focused, then you should really ask yourself, why am I doing this?
Okay.
Or like, why should I do it?
Right.
And you should really ask questions as to, do I really need this? Because maybe you're just really stressed out and you can't have this moment to focus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
there's a time
should-
and a place. for
Yeah,
everything.
you definitely should. Even before, like the day that I already knew, like I schedule my things actually out.
Yeah.
So I would know like during a moon phase, what day it is, what time I'm gonna do
How you
it.
said you don't schedule anything after, like you have those back-to-back sessions,
Exactly.
like you know how you move with your life.
Exactly.
Side note, but do you know what moon phase you were born in?
No, I don't actually.
Sorry.
No,
That
it's okay.
random question.
You know, the number one question that I had pretty much from everyone on Instagram was how to avoid getting scammed.
Oh, from
A
like
lot of, in terms of like your readings and
Mhm.
tarot and astrology, a lot of people, I'm assuming, have had trouble with that. And of course, you guys remember Miss Cleo and that whole
Oh my god.
that
Yeah.
blew up so crazy about her
Yeah.
being a scam. I remember growing up watching her.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
I've actually got scammed recently to
Okay.
go see somebody.
Okay.
So I don't read myself sometimes because I feel it's biased or I want to see it.
I want
Yeah.
astrologers, new astrologers, like
Yeah.
obviously, like we'll just you need
Psychologists,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Just-
So I don't read myself. So, and I only get readings if there's something that's really like important or like something just keeps trying to give me a message and I can't see it clear. So I went to this lady to go get a reading, and when I go in, she charged me $45. She wasn't timing me at all. So
is that customary to get time?
I think you should, as a person, I think almost every tarot reader, or even places that I've gone to and I've gotten an amazing experience, I got time because I'm not gonna like run my mouth forever because I can, and I'm
It's an
not.
exchange of energy
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're
So
paying for a service.
exactly.
So she didn't time herself.
So she didn't time me at all.
Red flag number one.
I go in and then she tells me to put the money on the table. Like she told me first to hold the money and think about what it is that I want and just put the money on the table and let it go. So then she starts taking out all, she literally took out every single card in the deck, and I've never seen anyone do that.
Okay.
And then she starts telling me certain things that were right, like, but it was just very
generalized.
yeah, it was just like, she did bring up like this whole thing of like the recent breakup that I had, and she goes, oh, you know, he's gonna try to come back, and I was like, okay, well, I don't want him, so this is why I'm here, like I need to figure certain things out. So you need to, like, the reason why I'm here is because I want to know what's the right thing for me to do at this time. And then she was, so then right away she jumped into the love thing and started telling me this crazy story, telling me that the reason why I can't find love is because when I was born, a demon came through my mom's birth canal and follows me, and it's in love with me, and it won't let me have someone. And I found it weird, and as she's talking to me, I was feeling it too. I was just kind of like, I felt really dark. My chest, like I was gonna pop. And it wasn't because I felt like, oh my God, is she right? Like something dark has been following me? No, I felt like something was wrong, period. Yeah. But I couldn't figure it out the moment. And then she was, yeah, exactly. And then she was telling me, oh, well, I can help you. I can make sure that all this goes away. That way you get all these things because you're actually supposed to be a really lucky person and have a lot of prosperity.
And I'm going to charge you more money.
No,
yeah. So then she was going to tell me that she was going to charge me $300 to remove this supposed demon that came out of my mom's scooter. Okay?
Oh.
So then
and
I
go. You don't take out all the cards? Like, because I know
no, that's just too much information. That's unnecessary information. Like, she doesn't have to read every single, like, thing on it. Like, you don't. Like,
astrology is infinite.
Yeah, it is. You can keep going.
I can go on and on. And I have, regular clients that come back, and I always tell them something different that I see in their chart again when I look at it.
So is there a way to get scammed too through astrology?
I'll be honest, absolutely. I think that there are a ton, especially now with the internet, which it's a blessing in disguise. I mean, there's so many tools people are able to learn, go on YouTube, learn about themselves, etc. But I think that testimonials are really important.
Yeah.
Look at your testimonials, but don't stop having faith in astrologers and other mediums on the internet, because virtual reality is something that is extremely, just huge amongst our
and then
generation.
I actually Googled her. I didn't think about that. I don't know why. Is it because my friend went? I don't know. So
no, but it was
I went and Googled her, and someone gave her a review of the exact same thing she told me.
Oh my God.
Person said the exact.
They read testimonials, see that they have actual clientele that's, coming in and out, that you can actually see them for yourself, that they're active. There are people that, don't have an Instagram, mysterious, and it's like, if you really want to communicate with your audience, you're going to be active on social. Yeah. You're going to have your testimonials. Exactly. And there are so many talented astrologers, even people that I totally admire on the internet, that are also clairvoyant, people that also read, tarot. I mean, now you have Sisther here, which,
And, like, realistically speaking, is there a number of times, like, how much you should get readings? Like, how often?
Yeah.
How what would you both recommend?
I don't like people, I don't like for people to waste their money. I mean, I even have people sometimes ask me that they want the full reading, which is when I kind of go and I dissect their birth chart. And I'm just like, look, we spoke, let's do this instead, and I'll charge you less. I think that it really depends. I think that easily you can get a reading maybe every 2 months to check in.
I was actually going to say, I only tell people, because then everyone will be, like, obsessed with it. And they're like, so when should I come back? And I'm always like,
obsessed with knowing.
So I always tell them, you could come back in 3 months. Because for my readings, I'll tell you where you'll be on the first month right now, what's happening to you, 3 months, 6 months, and then that's it. I draw the line because it's not set in stone. So you choose your path. Again, you set the intention. So if I tell you something and you listen to me, great, you're doing this. But if you don't, or something minor might happen, shit happens. So that's
the longer you wait, the more information you're going to get. I mean, you don't want, and again, we read so many different people that you forget, like, what if I tell you the same thing I told you last time because I'm seeing it all over again?
Yeah, you're
going to waste your money. So
I actually do feel the same way too. Like, I've had people, like, at one period when I first started, there was this girl that was coming literally every week for the same thing because she was so obsessed with it. And it was like, at one point I felt like telling her, no, don't come, because it's going to say the same thing. You're wasting my time. You're wasting your money. I don't think you should be spending your money this way.
That's very ethical.
Like, don't. I just thought it was ridiculous. And so a lot of my friends were all like, "Oh, girl, but you're making money. Girl, that's money. That's a secure pocket." I'm like, no.
And that comes back to you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no.
Would you say that distant, like, what's it? I don't know.
Long distance.
Like long distance readings are like. Are you a fan of them or no?
A lot of my clients are long distance. Okay. I do a lot of telephone readings, and I'm not even trying to do my own horn here, but I am total empath to the point that I pick up the phone and I already know, and this is like, this sounds almost ridiculous, but just by the tone of an email, I'm able to already pick up people's energy. And I think that it all depends, right? There are people who I'll do the in-face, I'll do them in person, But I think that when you're able to tap in, I think that you're able to really connect. Long distance readings, I don't have a problem with it at all.
Yeah, mine too, actually. I think I've gotten the best experiences out of long distance. For some reason, a lot of people love me in Jersey.
Oh, that's amazing. Shout out to Jersey.
Right?
Shout out to Jersey. I have family in Jersey.
You know, like a lot of girls, I don't know, they just do. And they will pay for like the longest. And I think it's just because they want that information. And I do have, like, I could literally, like she says, not to toot my own horn, but the more you practice your intuition.
Why can't we toot our own horns for a second? Okay, there we go, because we're in Miami.
The other day, a friend of mine who's actually, she's a psychiatrist, she works out of Santa Monica, which I actually met her on the internet too. She looked at my chart because I like somebody to look at my chart for once. I'm like, hey, so what do you think of that? Huh? You know? She's like, you are a supreme empath. She said, you really could read and you could do it. And I'm just like, oh my God, Val for validation. It's the validation that I've been seeking.
I love that.
You know? So I think that it really depends on the person, to each his own.
Yeah,
I wanted
for
to
sure.
ask, and I don't know if because this is on the spot and I don't know if it works like this, but do either one of you maybe want to, like, I don't know if it's because it doesn't have to be in depth, but maybe do you want to, like, go through the horoscope and maybe let people know, like, what, like, is there, I don't know, how would that work like that, if you want to say, like, this is what it's going to be like for you, or maybe even as a generalization, like what people can expect this year, like what's
I can do it. I mean, I have some horoscopes done, but I mean,
it doesn't have to be super deep. It can just be like, this is what you can expect from this, or this is what you can expect from that.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I don't want to
not trying to put you all to work
on
here
the
on the spot.
If you have anything?
I mean,
is there
that's
anything that
funny.
you thought or something you wanted to share, maybe?
Yeah, I actually pulled out some cards earlier today at home because I was kind of really excited for today. I actually didn't sleep that well last night. That was my problem. But, I kind of, like, woke up. I set the intention. I've been thinking about this all day, actually. And, like, to me, this is, like, a work. Like, I kind of was, like, set on this is what's going to happen to me today. Yeah. And this is my highlight. And I think overall, like, 2019, for everyone that I've really read, it's, like, the big sun card. Like, at times. So, to me, the sun gives life to things that are maybe dead, or they're not there, or we're trying to grow it. It's just like a plant. Yeah. It needs sunlight, no matter if it's a lavender plant that's like a little bit of shade, or we need, like
a sunflower.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have your whole garden, and every time I've read people so far this year, it's about you making that move. So, whatever it is that you believe in, that you want to do, is this me? If you wanted to start that new business, this new thing, it's like the time to do it. Okay. And everyone, even sometimes people might come and get a reading for something specific, but other things come out and they come out, and it's about like changes. Okay. And I think that's also a good thing for like a Scorpio sign, because it relates to the death card, that it's about like facing death and just ready for a new change, like having a rebirth. And that goes again to like the phoenix, it rises from the ashes.
Yes.
So
I'm such a wannabe Scorpio because it's my rising sign. Even though I'm a Cancer, like when they talk about Scorpios, I'm like Scorpio, and it's like I'm not even a Scorpio, but yes,
I love Scorpios, but so I just feel like they're like my soulmate. So then that's it for me. That's
you guys are both ruled by Mars.
Yeah,
so Mars, and Scorpio's co-ruler is Mars.
Yeah, to me the most intense relationship.
Anyway, what I was gonna say was my mom's a Scorpio, and I said this earlier.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say too, so I have like this thing that I have a 27. Like I don't know, I call it like an angel number. I call it my power number because I don't know what to call it yet. I don't know what it is, but I see it everywhere. It's so much so that I got it tattooed on my wrist.
Wow.
27 manifests itself.
That's my grandfather's number, and that is who passed away, so rest in peace. And that is my boyfriend's birthday, the 27, and he's all about 27. So, Achepati, I mean, that number is something.
Like,
so
you should definitely follow it. Like, if you ever even see, like, that goes out to anyone, like, you ever see these numbers, you would legit go on Google and look it up.
I've Googled it so many times.
And it's a 9 too.
That's what I was actually thinking. I was breaking it down.
That's my life path. I'm a 9 and I'm a soul path 5. Do you know your numerology?
No, I don't. I just know. Look, I'm May 27. My mom's October 27. My nephew would have been October 27. He was October 28. Okay. And after him, I started seeing 28 as well. So it always reminds me of him. Always lift out off of like 27th Avenue, 27th Street, 27.
Oh my God, it follows you
Well,
everywhere.
9,
Yeah.
it adds up to 9, and if
It
you
adds up to
really
9.
look at the spirituality of it, it's about just that like completion state, right?
You're like at the edge.
Yeah.
Before,
Yeah.
like,
I was very
Very
afraid
spiritual.
that when I like started speaking about it, it would go away. But like something in me was like, no, like this is yours. Like this number, this spirit, this power number, whatever it might be, like it's not gonna go away because it's with you. So I finally, like, I think one of the first people I ever opened up really about it was to my wife, and I was like, listen, I want to tell you this thing, and like it's, you know, it's a little scary.
don't think
But-
I'm weird.
Don't think I'm weird, but like 27 follows me everywhere. And it's like one of those things when you go to show someone something, then they don't see it or it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But sure enough, 27 everywhere. And like I'll look at her, like it'll be in the most random thing, and I'm like, you saw that, right? She's like 27. Like now she sees it with me because
One
it's
day
so
it's all
present.
gonna come together. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll see it.
Do you want me to tell you really quickly about
Oh sure.
for the sign? Do we have time or no?
Of course we do. Yeah. we
Okay. No, just like really quickly. So,
Yeah.
because
No, I wanted to get there. It was just it came to me,
Oh,
and I
I'm so
wanted to
sorry.
tell you all about 27.
Yeah, no,
please,
and
go.
speaking on the numbers thing, I'm like that with 1111.
Oh yeah.
And you know, recently my boyfriend started seeing 1010, and sometimes I see like all the numbers like 222, 333. And when I was taking care of my grandmother when she was sick, I'd be like, abuela, 1111, el 111, and then I bought her this book on angels, and she's like, mira pa acá esto. She's like, esto, tú viste, todos estos números tienen que ver con ángeles. Todo el tiempo los ángeles
I
estuvieron
love that your
contigo.
family embraces
And
that.
oh no, totally. Like we're very search. I mean, I consider myself a third generation. I think I got it from her,
Yeah.
even though I'm sure she got it from somebody too. I just never got to meet them.
Yeah.
But really quickly,
Yeah, please.
so going back to what you said about the sun, it makes perfect sense, astrologically speaking, because right now we have Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter's a planet of expansion, luck, abundance, and it's retrograde. So it's making us all go deep within ourselves and ask ourselves, like, okay, what happened, you know, throughout this experience that I had? What did I learn? Like, what is my philosophy? Where is it that I'm going? I need to take that step to move forward. So it is totally in line with what your tarot card said. So, luz para tu espíritu. So really quickly, Aries. Aries is going through a ton of transformation with everything. Aries and Aries rising in regards to your career,
Don't feel rushed.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Say what you need to say, please.
Aries is going through a lot of transformation, a lot of restructure in regard to their career, their life mission, things that have to do with their sense of authority, their authority figures too, so maybe like a prominent parent in their life. Lots of restructure there. Taurus, everything that has to do with their philosophy, their visions, the bigger picture, you know, if they want to travel places, if they're moving, you know, from the place that they live now to somewhere else, if they have to get papers, everything that has to do with publishing and entrepreneurship, there's a lot happening for them there as well. For Geminis are going through a lot of deaths, but not physical deaths, spiritual deaths, rebirths, things that have to do with paperwork, papeleo of shared resources, intimate unions, things that you're doing, investments that you might be doing with your partners. And let's say, like, I don't know, you start a new job or something that it entails investing time or investing. It's a lot of surrender for Geminis. Cancers are going through a lot of rebirth and restructure in regards to their relationship and their sense of compromise, their general relatability, the way that they, the people they associate themselves with. They've cut a lot of people out of their lives, if I do say so myself. And I'm not mad about it either. Leos, they're going through a lot of transformation and restructure in regard to their well-being, their physical well-being, their mental well-being, mind, body, and soul, how much they are of service to others. I mean, I know a lot of Leos who have been doing a lot of volunteer work. I know another Leo rising who's actually somewhere abroad, like doing like mission trips and stuff like that, but things related to health, to their day-to-day work life, to the way that they are of service to the world is going through a restructure, their routine mainly. For Virgo, things related to their, what makes them have fun, their sense of authenticity, their individual truth, babies. If Virgos are trying to conceive, that could be happening right now. Maybe they're struggling with that. Regardless, it's going to happen. There's something coming out of it because that area of the chart has to do with children, but it also has to do with the inner child. So if there's something that they have to speak to and really attend to is their inner child during this time, the things that bring them joy. So find that for you, Virgo. Libras and Libra risings, you guys are going through a lot of restructure and transformation in regards to your soul foundation, your soul purpose, how you're going to bring that you carry within you to the rest of the world. Stuff that has to do with your home environment, your loved ones. Maybe you're finding that sanctuary within yourself, because before we find the sanctuary outside in the four walls, we have to find it within within us, right? Scorpio and Scorpio risings, everything related to the way that we communicate. I'm saying we because I'm a Scorpio rising, right? So this has been a lot of restructure for me in regards to everything that I've been writing and that I've been publishing, conversations, the way that I think. Scorpios are going through a lot of transformation in regards to their thought process, the way that their perspective. All of that is changing. Stuff with their peers, social media. Sagittarius, their values, their sense of self-worth, income, finances, the gifts that they possess. Sagittariuses are realizing, wow, I'm really good at this, or I'm good at that. I didn't know that I could sing. I didn't know that I could, be an artist if I wanted to. Really tap into that, Sag, and you might be going through a lot of, maybe if you were spending a lot of money, Pluto and Saturn are like, yo, stop, putting that on your credit card and get to work. Capricorn, let me take a drink for that, because seriously, Capricorns, wow, you guys are going through a lot. The South Node is there, Pluto's there, Saturn's there. It's kind of like the black hole of our entire galaxy, the waste basket, and I'm not saying that that's Capricorn, but it is all going there. Everything that has to do, and if you notice, everything that has to do with the patriarchy, with structures, with foundations, all of that is kind of crumbling at the moment because it's being reborn. Okay, so same thing for Capricorns. They're being reborn as well. Their identity. They have Pluto right now on their side, so everything has to do with power and finding the power within them and being reborn. They've got what it takes. They have this drive right now, and they have to kind of just keep going and use that perseverance that they have, because Capricorns are so persevered. I mean, I totally admire them. Aquarius, everything related to karma, closure, a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. A lot of Aquarians are kind of paying back karmic debt right now, meeting people that it's almost kind of like a, whoa, like, where do I know you from? Things that are happening right now for them, a lot of surrender, a lot of letting go, shed, stop holding on to things just to hold on to, control. Aquarius are not emotional, so it's like, to them, it's like, this is not even happening to me. And Pisces, last but not least, everything that has to do with what makes them rebellious and different, their sense of belonging in their world, their tribe. Pisces are finding their tribe. They're also breaking up with their crew if they have to, but they're finding their sense of belonging in the world, in their network. So, yeah.
That was amazing. Thank you so much,
thank
Valerie.
you for letting me talk about it.
No, I loved it. Sister, thank you so much. How can people stay in touch with you both on social media and support your businesses and your crafts?
Well, yeah, on my Instagram, you can find me as the Tarot Queen.
La Bruja del Trio.
Yeah. Yes. And then my website is actually labrujadeltrio5.com. And then there you could see, like, you could book a reading. You could, I also have information on what the tarot is and how maybe it could benefit your life.
Yeah.
And it also has, like, my more contact information. If maybe you even have more questions, you could shoot me a message. Or even on Instagram, you could totally comment, send me a message.
Do you have any upcoming events where people locally can meet you at? Or is that also on your website listing?
Yeah, so I do. And if you sign up for my email on the website, I always send a newsletter with information about if I'll be somewhere that month, week. If I have, sometimes I have deals, but only people that are on the email list will get that.
Okay, awesome.
Ooh.
And Valerie?
So yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Valerie Mesa, Valerie Mesa. I write for Elite Daily. I have several links on my Instagram, so just find me there. I'm actually going to be at Soul to Soul this Saturday at 8011 Southwest 40th Street. I'm going to be there from 12 to 4 on Saturday, giving free mini readings, and either way, you guys should check it out, because she's a total witch and an amazing human being. She has a bunch of amazing different spiritual trinkets for all my fellow mystics here in Miami, and yeah, I'm so happy to have been here today.
Thank you so much to both of you for being here tonight. It literally, it really has really filled my love tank.
I feel it.
Thank
I
you
know,
so
I feel like
much
I gotta take a
both
deep
of
breath too.
I feel like, honestly, we just need to hold hands again.
Let's hold hands real quick.
This coven is amazing.
Thank you so much to both of you for just being here with all of us and sharing your energy. For everyone out there, I appreciate you all tuning into another episode of Meet Them Mondays. Make sure to come back on June 24th for a new episode on Father's Day. We're actually going to be talking about growing up without a father. So follow us on social media at Meet Them Mondays. I'm your host, Cristian Portilla, on IG at Roam Free Rights. If you like what you hear, then share an episode with your friends or support the Meet Them Mondays mission. Hit us up for sponsorships or subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or visit roamfreerights.com for more. Peace. Thank you.
Bye.
We're still live on Facebook, yes? Everyone, thank you all so much for tuning in. This is Valerie Mesa. This is Sisther. I'm Cristian Portilla. I appreciate you all so much. Remember that it'll be the recording if you missed it or you couldn't watch it. It'll be on Spotify, Roam Free Rights, Apple Podcasts after. Thank you all for tuning in, and we are signing out.